The rebel forces are led by an Islamist militant group that has a long history in the Syrian conflict, and it's vowing to work alongside other rebel groups in the country. CBC's Julia Chapman has more on that from London.
Well, Linda, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, is now the dominant power in Syria. And it does, as you say, have its roots in Islamism, having been born out of al-Qaeda and Islamic State. But it later broke away and rebranded itself more as a revolutionary group than a jihadist one. It is still designated a terrorist organization by Canada and other Western powers. And it's controlled Idlib and parts of northwestern Syria for several years now. During that time, it has been accused of human rights abuses. But since it began its campaign in recent days, HTS and its leadership has tried to strike a more moderate tone. In an interview with CNN a couple of days ago, Abu Mohammed al-Golani, its leader, promised to respect the rights of minority groups. Now, that will be tested in the days and weeks to come. But HTS is far from the only rebel group in Syria. It's been known to work alongside the Turkish-backed Syrian National Army, formerly known as the Free Syrian Army. It's made up of a constellation of rebel groups who dominate the north of the country. In the east, the Kurdish forces hold vast swathes of territory with support from the United States, and they continue to clash with the Syrian National Army. And in the south, there are disparate rebel militias operating in different areas. So the question now is how these various groups can work together and what a transitional government will look like going forward.
And Julia, the conflict in Syria has been going on for more than a decade. How did we get to this point?
Well, you can follow its roots back even further, half a century, to the beginning of the Assad family's rule in 1971. That was the father of Bashar al-Assad, Hafez, who ruled the country with an iron fist. And when he died in 2000, Bashar was seen as a somewhat unlikely successor, and there was some optimism that he would prove to be a reformer, but that quickly disappeared. In 2011, as the Arab Spring emerged across the Middle East, protests in Syria's south were brutally repressed by Assad's forces, but the spark of revolution had been lit, and then a civil war unfolded. The government of Bashar al-Assad held on to power only with help from Iran, its proxy militia Hezbollah, and air power from Russia, which became a crucial ally when it intervened in 2015. A ceasefire in 2020 brought a lull to the civil war until about 10 days ago, when HTS began this lightning offensive, moving towards Aleppo. And as we've seen since then, it was only the first city to fall.
Thanks, Julia.